She was the most extravagant woman in Chinese history. Each meal consisted of 108 dishes, and taking a bath required 100 towels. Her funeral nearly drained the entire treasury of the Qing Dynasty. She was Empress Dowager Cixi, who ruled China for nearly half a century. Cixi's extravagance can be summed up in one sentence. The wealth of an entire nation was used to serve one person. Every day, she took a bath using two separate basins, one for her upper body and one for her lower body. Beside her, 100 towels embroidered with golden dragon patterns had to be prepared. Each towel was discarded after a single use and never returned to the basin. Even her socks had strict requirements. They had to be made of pure white soft silk and embroidered with decorative patterns. Even the most skilled embroiderers in the palace needed 7 to 8 days to make a single pair. Yet such exquisite socks were worn only once before being discarded. It is said that there were 3,000 people assigned solely to making her socks. At a time when ordinary people struggled to feed themselves, the cost of her socks alone was equivalent to the annual budget of an entire county. Cixi was extremely sensitive to smells. According to her personal maid Ronger, several large vats were placed throughout her palace, filled with fresh fruits transported from all over the country. She disliked the scent of incense and preferred the natural fragrance of fruit instead. As a result, the air in her residence was always fresh and pleasant. Even though the fruits were brought from thousands of miles away, they were only allowed to stay for a single day. By the next morning, they had to be replaced with new ones. Records show that Cixi consumed around 158,000 apples a year, along with tens of thousands of pears, watermelons, and other fruits. Now let's talk about the extravagance of her meals. Cixi ate only 2 meals a day, but each one had to include 108 dishes. Can you imagine what over 100 dishes laid out in front of you would look like? You'd probably need a telescope to see them all. But Cixi never had to lift a finger. Eunuchs would present each dish to her, one by one. Despite the enormous spread, she didn't taste every dish. Even if she particularly liked one, she would never take more than 3 bites. This was intentional. She didn't want anyone around her to figure out her preferences. Back then, there was a saying, one meal for Cixi could feed the common people for 3 years. Cixi's kitchen is divided into 4 areas: the meat bureau, the vegetarian bureau, the dim sum bureau, and the rice bureau. There were more than 100 stoves in all and more than 300 people. Each person and each stove had its own number. All kinds of raw materials used for cooking must be inspected and qualified before they can be used. Which dish is which person washed, which person cut, which person fried are recorded clearly. After the dish is done, it will be wrapped in yellow silk by the eunuchs and sent away until Cixi's dinner time. It will not be opened. Princess De Ling in the palace said, when Cixi ate, the empresses could only stand and serve, waiting for her to finish eating before it was their turn, and they also stood and ate. De Ling also revealed that Cixi every day to drink half a bowl of human milk, so in their own palace to keep a few young milkmaid. She was very much convinced that human milk had the effect of beautifying and nourishing the skin. In addition to human milk, Cixi would also rub all kinds of skincare products and cosmetics on her face every day, including rouge and pearl powder, etc. She also had to match her own clothes. The time spent on makeup alone was more than 3 hours a day. 1903, American painter Catherine Carr in the portrait of Cixi had said that she was hard to imagine. This looks 30 years old noblewoman is actually more than 60 years old. To be precise, Cixi was 69 years old at that time. According to the Royal Archives, Cixi's 60th birthday celebration cost 10 million taels of silver, equivalent to $7.435 million. So much money to do what? First of all, Cixi, as well as the emperor and ministers of the dress and all kinds of cotton silk, including inside and outside the palace, the summer palace to the palace of dozens of miles of environmental decoration. The summer palace, one of the largest surviving royal gardens in China, is 4 times larger than the Forbidden City in Beijing, where the Empress Dowager Cixi held her office, including meeting with ministers, and where the Guangxu Emperor was imprisoned. It is beautifully landscaped and was built as a royal retirement home by Cixi at a cost of 18 billion renminbi. In addition, including the construction of more than 60 colorful sheds, stage, all kinds of pavilion and other projects, as well as thousands of people's banquet costs, and the celebration of the palace before the repair, etc., all kinds of spending a total of 10 million taels of silver. But at that time, the most advanced British and German warships, the price of about 250,000 taels of silver, that is to say, Cixi birthday spending money, are enough to buy a few more of the most advanced warships. But when the preparations for the celebration just began, the palace could only come up with 4 million taels. So what about the remaining 6 million taels? Then think of ways from elsewhere. Anyway, Cixi birthday must be cheerful. Once there were officials opposed, said the country is in turmoil, should not be extravagant and pompous. But Cixi said, who let me a moment of pain, I let his whole family is not happy. So no one dared to object anymore. In this way, all the officials donated 3 million taels, 2 million taels from the railroad funds, and then 1 million taels from the sea defense funds. 10 million taels came together. Therefore, from the beginning of October 1894 together, inside and outside the palace day and night to celebrate the 60th birthday of Cixi, the entire palace immersed in a laughter until the 17th to end. And during this period, the Japanese successively captured the two major coastal towns of Lushuan and Dalian. Among them, Lushuan was also the scene of a horrific massacre in which tens of thousands of civilians died. A few months later, the Beiyang fleet, once known as Asia's first naval force, was defeated and wiped out by the Japanese due to a lack of weapons and ammunition. This fleet, which originally cost a lot of money and was more advanced than the Japanese warships, lost the Sino-Japanese War because Cixi diverted the military expenses to build the summer palace and used mud and sand as cannonballs. When the eight-power Allied forces entered Beijing, she left the people of the city and fled westward with Emperor Guangxu, and when it was time to fight, she chose to seek peace. In the end, she signed unequal treaties with 11 countries, incurring a debt of 450 million taels of silver, which took the Chinese people 39 years to pay off, setting back China's economy by 50 years, and being scolded by the Chinese people as the first sinner in history. Cixi lived to be 74 years old, experienced 4 dynasties of emperors, and controlled China for nearly half a century. In her death 20 years later, her tomb by the National Revolutionary Army violently opened. Her mouth was also cut open by soldiers with a knife, only to take out the night pearl she contained in her mouth. There are folk rumors, when the tomb was opened, Cixi is still rosy-cheeked. The body did not decay at all because the mouth contains the night pearl, and this night pearl was eventually bought by the United States Rockefeller's family at a high price. In addition to the night pearl, the army pulled out 20 carts of jewelry from the tomb, valued at 80 million taels of silver. She preferred to take this money into her coffin rather than buy advanced weapons to strengthen the Chinese army. However, what she had taken the trouble to leave behind could not be taken away. All the money in the coffin was stolen by the Revolutionary Army, and her body was thrown into the river. Perhaps her death was the greatest contribution to the Chinese people.